Welcome to the Hypnosis NGH podcast. I'm Eric Damon from the National Guild of Hypnotists. This podcast series offers a fun and serious look at hypnosis and offers various ideas, discuss case studies, along with NGH educational opportunities. Hello and welcome to the Hypnosis NGH podcast. I'm Eric Damon from the National Guild of Hypnotists. I'd like to welcome our special guest today from Amherst, New Hampshire. Please welcome Lois Hermann. Lois is a spiritual energy expert. She's board certified, Order of Braid Hypnotist, certified instructor, also an NLP Trainer, EFT practitioner, and energy clearing Master-Teacher with all kinds of experience. So if you take a moment and please welcome our special guest, Lois Hermann. Now, and she does radio and a podcast.
Yes.
So this is old school to you to do a little podcast and chat about yourself. Well, maybe the chatting about yourself is not old school. I don't know.
Well, it's fun to be on the other end. I'm usually the one that's interviewing my guests on my radio show and podcast, although I am on other people's podcasts as well. So it's interesting to be on the other end talking about me. I usually get people to talk about them.
Well, see, then you can help me talk about you, if that makes sense.
It does.
Now, how long have you been doing hypnosis?
Actually, I'm just going to say roughly going on 30 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah. 28 years, something like that. So my first conference was 1995.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yes. Yeah. So it's been a little while.
But think of all the experience over the years that you've gotten. You enjoy going to the conferences?
I love the conferences. I highly recommend the NGH conference. I've attended many, and I used to, in my former life and job, I actually used to be involved with creating the booths and manning the training at the national conferences for diagnostic imaging for ultrasound, the big RSNA conference, all these different conferences around the world. And I am here to tell you that the NGH is really, truthfully, from my heart, one of the best run conferences that I have attended and been a part of. It's very efficient, and I love the fact that you guys are continuing to grow and do new and different things. And yet it's very warm and inviting. The people make you feel invited and comfortable. And that's really important when you're somebody new, and there are a lot of new people this year.
Yeah.
And they're loving it. I like inviting people to sit down at the table or at the bar, meeting people. That's the beauty of the conference, is there's a lot of great education going on, a lot of people who are teaching, and there's always nuggets to learn. It's the networking in between that is very special.
That's huge. I find it interesting to see people, they come out of classes, they'll come out of two different classes, and then they go and sit down in the courtyard and they start talking about, this is what I learned. This, did you know? And it goes back and forth, and it's very, it's fun to see that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a huge part of why in-person conferences are important.
Exactly. And I just did a class on virtual sessions and workshops and trainings. My practice is all virtual now. So my clients are all virtual. I have several training programs. I'm just revamping a training program, all virtual, which I love. That said, there is something very special about coming together with peers to network, to really share thoughts and really get into that energy of each other.
Now, do you think, talking about virtual, I mean, we had this on a roundtable discussion about if you find clients who are hesitant about virtual or maybe you need to see them in person for an initial. Does that happen on occasion, or you're successful?
Not anymore.
No.
I do. If somebody is concerned, I'll spend 15 minutes, like a free interview with them, just talking with them about what we do. And there are people that will say, sure, I'll give it a try. And then once they do it, they enjoy it. There are a lot of benefits for the client and for yourself. I've had a lot of men tell me that they really appreciated the virtual because they didn't have to rush, leave, come someplace, try and find a place to park, hurry up, get up into a strange environment with somebody they don't know and sit down and relax, versus being in their easy chair at home or in their car in a safe parked place without having to have that rush.
Right.
And so they are actually in a position of being better able to go into an altered state because they're already relaxed.
Right.
I don't have to get them to relax from the craziness. So it's been very beneficial. And for me, in between clients, I can go outside and sit in my garden. I can debrief. I don't have to have them back to back. Now, do I save money? Yeah, I'm not paying for a room, but my webmaster is my room is my website. So I do invest in my business via the website, and I touch my website and I do a lot. However, my webmaster is the one that knows all the secret sauce. He's the magician behind the scenes. And I value his skills. So you can't go into doing virtual sessions if you're not able to welcome being technical. You've got to have some technical expertise, and you can learn it.
Now, for you on the virtual, do you feel that you've been very successful with clients?
Yes, absolutely. And I have clients from all countries: Australia, Greece, UK, Ireland, Japan, Canada, all over. And the challenge is making sure that we have the time zones correct.
Right.
That's the biggest challenge. And the other thing, and I mention this often, is if you know you've got a weak signal, that's a time where I'm not going to do regression. I might do some positive reinforcement or some self-hypnosis or just some simple NLP that I know if there is a potential for a disconnect, that they're in a good place. Although I always give them the suggestion right up front that no one ever gets stuck in hypnosis. If you do not hear me talking, you will come to a waking level of awareness and call back in. So I help them feel safe.
I think that's one of the stereotypes that people don't know, and maybe some apprehension on their part. They want to be hypnotized to help them, but they're not sure.
Right.
And go back to the fact that they can be at home helps that.
Yeah.
As well as, being able to.
Of course, there's some rules there too. No dogs allowed.
I was going to say, because you're around your atmosphere, you got the dog, you got the kids coming home from school, or
so there are some techniques that I use. The first session is an intake, or the first hour is intake, and I'm assessing what's going on. If it's a cat, cats are fine. I just often will say the cat's getting ready to jump in your lap, and you were fine. Just be aware that the cat's jumping in your lap. But the dogs, you can't predict when they're going to bark. So they have to make sure that the dogs are gone. There's some boundaries that have to be set in order for them to be successful with the session. That said, there are people who absolutely do not. They only want to do in person, and then I just have to refer them to somebody else because I no longer do that.
No, I mean, obviously you stick with your specialty and what works for you. And the fact that, again, talking from a roundtable discussion, that we're kind of still in the mode of developing virtually, in the sense of, online. We don't know where it's going to go from here is what I'm saying, because COVID really pushed us all into discovering the fact that it can be done. And now we're seeing it successful, and you'll see it continually evolve and build into even better. So we're all learning as we go along.
And that is what happened with me. I was already doing some Zoom sessions, and the training that I had created was a online training. However, when COVID hit, I closed my 3-room office suite down because I need to be able to read people's face. I need to be able to express myself clearly and enunciate. So I decided to switch to the online. So the sessions have been great. There's definitely some learning curve to it. The training, I needed to up my game with the hands-on, the practical aspect. Yes, I can teach didactically via the virtual, but I need to see them doing the sessions, and I need to see them experience it. So with the types of energy clearing work and the spirit work and the NLP, I can be there observing them using these skills. I have yet to train hypnosis. I am a CI. I'm intending next year to be able to do some training online. I might do a hybrid. I might do some of the didactics online and then have a weekend where they come together and now or a period of time where they're coming together to apply what they're learning.
So you mentioned that. I mean, I mentioned before we started that my background is emergency medical services, and that has developed into, because as an EMT or a paramedic, you need to train every 2 years. You need to renew,
Right.
and what they've had to do is exactly how I see it is evolving with hypnosis, is to some degree, especially new hypnotists, is you can have a lot of classroom time virtually online,
Right.
but there's got to be a little bit of hands-on so that you as an instructor can be ensured that the folks who you're signing, that they are, they've passed and they're hypnotists.
Exactly. And the other thing is I have many years experience too. So I know what works now versus what worked before. I can't do a hand drop on induction online. I've had to change the different types of inductions that I use, the rapid inductions I use, and I have to use voice anchors. There's a lot of things that I've had to modify in order to be as effective as I was in person, where I was doing touch base because I was doing EFT tapping and different interactive things with the client. So I've had to adapt so that the client gets the same benefit, but I've had to adapt the techniques that I use. So for a new hypnotist, that might be a little challenging to learn, to be able to learn all of that. So they learn virtually, and then they have to apply that to in-person client. It might be more challenging.
Right. So we have the band here that's playing behind us. Hey, that's what happens when you're interviewing and talking here at the convention.
And you know what? But that's just what the NGH is about, is having an opportunity to have some hands-on, some practice, so to get together and learn from different instructors how to apply different techniques.
So, we talk about, people that are training to become hypnotists. One of the things that the National Guild of Hypnotists is doing for members is we're developing now a kind of I got to figure out the right words to say, that basically an audit for people who are taught online, so that we can ensure that members who are, if you're being taught the NGH certification, that certain things are being met, and that the people who are going out there are, great hypnotists, or people who are really learned well virtually or online. So,
and not everybody passes. It's like not everybody gets an award. Even in the training that I do, not everybody gets an award. I have to see that they're competent.
Yeah, and that's important. And I know that with all CIs with the NGH, I mean, everyone is very, very careful of making sure that, and that's why we have such a good core of hypnotists, because the time is taken to make sure that proper training is done. So let me ask you this question on, for those who don't know, and I would include myself, I'm not as clear on it, but with NLP training, EFT, what does that mean to everybody who's listening?
Sure. NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. And this is I consider it a light state of trance. You don't have to take people into a deep level of trance in order to affect a change in pattern behavior. So NLP, neuro-linguistic, the linguistics, how the words affect our neurology. So the words we say and think, hear, read will affect how we respond and react. So as an NLP practitioner, I can use different techniques, or I can use my words to create a positive change. For instance, the subconscious mind does not know the word not. Don't think about the NGH this weekend. Don't think about the all the rain we've had up here in New England this spring. You have to think about it to not think about it. So to train your mind to remove the word not from your vocabulary. So don't smoke.
Right.
The subconscious mind hears smoke, smoke, smoke. Don't, lose weight. Lose your car keys, you're going to look to find them again. So there's certain words that we use in our regular language that we have to change the language pattern. And
That makes sense.
I think that also NLP is valuable for everybody. In healthcare, you should learn NLP for doing the EMT work that you do. The nurses, doctors, anybody in the healthcare industry, and all hypnotists, I feel, my own personal opinion, should have some NLP training because you can read people. It teaches you about speaking with a kinesthetic person versus a visual versus an auditory. Because if I'm talking visual to somebody who's kinesthetic,
Right.
it's like dog and cat. You're not even going to you're not going to hear each other. So when you can get into the rhythm and pattern of the person you're speaking with, then you're communicating. And it just creates so much more efficiency in the outcome for the client-patient situation.
So we're basically there's just different levels of training and how you can be effective for your clients.
Absolutely. And then I use NLP skills all the time when I'm working with it, even in hypnosis, how I'm enunciating, how I'm intonating, so the linguistics, how I'm using my words in order to affect positive change for my client. So getting into their rhythm and pattern, making sure that I am mirroring back the words that they're saying, changing the syntax, helping to do a pattern interrupt for them. Those are all NLP techniques that would be great tools in a hypnotist toolkit.
And for the most part, what would you say when you look at somebody who is a hypnotist? I mean, these are the types of things that they add to their briefcase of
Correct.
knowledge and being able to be a good hypnotist to help people. For example, at the convention, this is where they get
Yes.
these tools.
Yes.
And as you were just saying, you feel it's important that they continue to add these because it only makes them more
Absolutely.
helpful to somebody who needs it.
And I got my NLP training, oh goodness, 15 years ago or more, and then went on and advanced to the level of the NLP mastery training. And I am a trainer for Will Horton, and he has a wonderful essentials training that I've developed with his. And I market this underneath in his organization, the NLP Federation of NLP, but it's an online training that I do in NLP for people, and it's really tailored to coaches and people who are working with other people. A lot of salespeople use NLP. So the type of NLP training that I offer is really more for the coaching, clinical based people.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it can be used in
many ways.
All walks of life here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense. Let's talk about radio and podcasts.
Yeah. So I started a radio show 4 years ago. And the reason that I did that, it's based on hypnosis sessions that I had with a client. I don't know whether you've heard the story, but this gentleman named Gary came to me who was having difficulty sleeping. And crazy Einstein looking guy, senior scientist, brilliant man, but his mind would race at night.
Right.
We help people to sleep all the time, right? Simple thing for hypnosis. Now, you mentioned I'm a spiritual based hypnotist. If you wanted to go into trance and speak with your angel, your guide, your grandmother, you could. I'm the guide, the scribe, and the protector. I am grounded. I am not a medium that is seeing these people for you. I am using hypnotic techniques so that you can facilitate that. And there's many reasons to do this for the person's own self, peace of mind, a son that died, and you can connect with the son to make sure he's in a good place.
Yeah.
So it gives peace of mind to the mother, for instance. So that's normal for me all day. You go into trance, I'm taking notes. This gentleman goes into trance, opens his eyes, looks me square in the face and says, "We need your help to save humanity. Humanity's facing the next great apocalypse. If they don't change their ways, there may not be much time left." 6 pages of scribbled notes later, he comes out of trance, and I said, "What did you think of that?" And he said, "It was very relaxing."
Really?
What? And so the next time he
Wow.
came, I said, "Do you mind if I turn a little recording app on my phone in case whoever this is comes back again?" And sure enough, they came back. And then I'm thinking, I don't know about this. This is really out there even for me. So I brought in one of my consultants who is a medium, who is able to go into trance and see with me and with clients. And he could tell that the information that was coming through Gary was pure light. And so we ended up publishing 3 books, and they were all introduced at the NGH.
That is great.
8/8 Lionsgate was when I was told this is the date, the deadline date. So they were all, their birthdays are all, their big introduction was always here. I
Wow.
always had a booth. This is the
That's
first
great.
year that in 4 years that I haven't had a booth, but I got 3 babies under the age of 4. And they're called The Chronicles of Hope. They're being sold at the NGH in the bookstore, but they're truly hypnosis-based sessions. And I wanted to stay very pure, you make sure that I transcribed exactly, that I wasn't altering, this, with integrity.
Yep.
I wanted to make sure that, number one, we don't ask leading questions. I'm interviewing them and asking the questions to get them to talk. And then I wanted to make sure that everything that I captured was accurate based on what they said. So that's what the books are based on. But I was also a Course in Miracles facilitator for 20 years. So A Course in Miracles is a spiritual study group.
Yes.
And so what I did is I ended up with these book series. I'm going to get back to answer your initial question in a minute
It's okay.
about the podcast.
It's still in my mind. So
Okay, good. So I took these hypnosis-based sessions, put them in a manuscript, and I brought in 12 people from all walks of life. And I said, "Could you please read this and let me know what you think?" And many of them read it and came back and said, "Could you please explain this?" Because as a hypnotist, you might be able to follow the dialogue,
Right.
but an average person maybe not. So then what I developed based on their wonderful feedback was each session has the actual transcript, followed by what's called the reflection, which is my insight as to this is what we just learned, kind of like
That's
the
great.
Cliff Notes version,
Yeah.
so that some people can just read the Cliff Notes. And then based on my Course in Miracles background, then I have what's called the highlights, which are bulleted topics of the lifts from the transcript. So you could use that if you just wanted an insight for today, you could flip to a highlight and get an insight. So
Oh, wow.
it speaks to the different types of learning styles.
Right.
Different people have learning styles, different people, just like the NLP, different communication styles. So,
well, you would think that, I mean, that makes sense to me that you would do something like that, because you want people to be able to get an insight to, to what you're writing about, and helping them understand it. You're right. Your average person maybe would read something, the transcript, as you said, and not really understand what's going on. So that
right.
makes sense. That I think that brings more people into understanding what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
In others that they're doing hypnosis. Now, back to the radio show.
Sure.
Do you, and the podcast, is this part of what you bring into those
Yes.
programs?
And the reason I started the podcast is one of the people that came through the channel sessions was Jesus. So here I am interviewing Jesus. If you could ask Jesus anything you wanted to ask, what would you ask? I'm like, holy cannoli, me? And so one of the things that he said is there are more good people out there than bad, but the voices of the negative are louder and stronger. You must make the voice of the good people heard. And so I took it upon myself. I was going to be on a radio show to promote the books. And I woke up that morning with the guidance that, no, I need to host a radio show, a good news radio show to shine the light on people who are doing good in our world.
Yeah.
And that's when Inspiring Hope was born. And so
that's
typically it's been every Sunday morning at 9:00 through WSMN, local in Nashua. And then what I do also is I blast it out through my newsletters, also online on my website. They're all on my website. They're also on Rumble and on YouTube.
And what is your website?
It's Lois Hermann with 2 N's, loishermann.com. So you can find I've got, I'm pushing 200 shows now. And so I'm getting ready to switch or in addition to the radio show, switching over to doing podcasts where we can see both of us. Another one of the silver linings of COVID, initially, you had to be in the studio in order to record.
Right.
And then when they could no longer get people to come into the studio, they opened it up to where I could have callers calling in. So now I've got somebody from Australia that, it's 9 a.m. on a Sunday morning.
On Sunday morning. No,
no that's 1 a.m. at their time. But even the West Coasters, that's 6 a.m. That's early for them. So, and then you're looking at me talking to the camera. And my guest, who is the star, is, on the phone. So with the podcasting, you'll be able to see both of us.
Right,
and we'll still be able to broadcast it through the radio, but I want to be able to see my guests as I'm interviewing them.
So you've definitely, the whole process, you've evolved. I mean, you're definitely getting the word out about hypnosis and what you're doing. And that's great.
Yes. Getting the word out. We've got to shift to hope. We have to shift the negative. We've got to hold the positive. So that, and then my big thing, that my niche, we all have niches in our world that we work. I am a spiritual based hypnotist, which means that I do a lot of work with clearing energy, and it's not just spirits, but I learned it years ago here at the Guild, how to clear spirits, but it's also clearing negative thoughts, negative energies, clearing the negative, making way for the positive. And we've got to, nature will fill a vacuum. You remove the negative, then you use all those brilliant hypnosis suggestions to plant it with positive.
And that helps individuals immensely.
Huge.
So,
yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, I love it.
Well, I appreciate you sitting down and taking the time to talk to me.
Thank you.
The Hypnosis NGH podcast.
Yeah.
And I reserve the right to bring you back, and when we don't have the band and the air conditioning, but that's okay. That's what's happened when you're at the convention.
That's right.
You have to deal with the atmosphere.
And the people that are here, it's so good to see old friends, and it's also wonderful to see the wide-eyed wonder of the newbies going, "Wow, did you hear about this?" It's
you were a newbie
place.
once, right?
I was, and in many ways, I still am.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you for all that you're doing, and for the team. Your team is incredible.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
(2024) Continuing Education Seminars by internationally known hypnotists. National Guild of Hypnotists, Incorporated. 22nd Annual. Tuscany Hotel and Casino. 255 E. Flamingo Erd. Las Vegas, Nevada. 702-893-8933. Group code 0224GUILD. February 24th and the 25th, 2024. Award-winning presenters: Cal Banyan, Sean Michael Andrews, Tom Nicole E., Roberta Fernandez, Don Motton, Robbie Spear Miller. February 24th and 25th, 2024. Early bird, only $300. Pay before February 1st, 2024. Save $50. After February 1st, $350. $25 cancellation fee, $50 no-show fee. Tuition includes all presentations, handouts and outlines, 16 hours of CEUs, certificates of completion, lunch each day, registration 8 a.m. program 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Register. Today, phone 60342-99438. Online, www.ngh.net. Email, ngh@ngh.net. Train the Trainer class. February 26th through March 1st, $1,995. Includes solid gold weekend. Board certification exam. Sunday, February 25th, 2024. Program subject to change without notice. Building a better practice through intentional public speaking. Learning how to intentionally present your message is the most effective marketing tool you possess. Public speaking allows you to become the subject matter expert on whatever topic you are presenting. In this presentation, Roberta will share why learning to present yourself in the proper way can help you grow your practice with zero to minimal cost. Speaking enables you to reach diverse audiences, specific audiences, and become a better networker. Learn how to choose the audience to fill your niche. Explore ideas for building your reputation. Discover ways to use training to build a referral network. How to get your audience to market your workshop for you. Gain tips for making yourself memorable. See Roberta model how a presentation will lead you to the clients you desire. Roberta Fernandez, BCH, CI, Henderson, NV, is a personal and professional development consultant and the owner of Fair Hypnosis. She is a renowned corporate trainer and an eloquent public speaker. Roberta has conducted thousands of individual client sessions over the past 15 years and has spoken at numerous government and academic and organizations.
3. Easy things to implement immediately for practice building. There are 3 things any practicing hypnotist can do immediately for business growth and to increase revenue. The best news is, they are all easy to do. Do you want to know what these 3 things are that will help build your practice and income as a professional hypnotist? Be there and I'll spill the beans and hold nothing back. Where to find your warm market and ideal client immediately. Why, when the work is done, it's not done. How to avoid the pitfalls of offering package sessions and what to do instead. How to avoid competition in our profession. What a complete hypnosis program consists of and how to price it properly. Maintenance and reinforcement programs. The fastest way of increasing income by the end of next month. Tom Nicole E., BCH, CIOB, Kenny, OH, is a board-certified hypnotist, certified instructor, NGH advisory board member, Order of Braid council member, and adjunct faculty member. He is also an internationally published author and speaker. The success of his work has been covered by Dateline NBC and other national and local television radio shows, and newspapers and print publications such as Forbes and Shape magazine. Instant and rapid inductions. Are you ready to become a more successful hypnotist who is able to effectively and efficiently hypnotize almost anyone, almost anywhere? This is very much a hands-on presentation with lots of practice. You will learn how to recognize the most highly hypnotizable people, instant inductions to bring the most analytical clients into trance, how to give amazing presentations that will wow the crowd and bring in clients to your practice. The NEWS safety check to ensure your client's well-being. The 58-second pre-brief that sets up your client for trance. The world's most powerful hypnotist routine that always amazes the crowd. Exactly what to do at a party when someone asks you, "Can you show me some hypnosis?" Sean Michael Andrews, BCH, CI, The Villages, FL, is an expert at inducing trance, and some people consider him the world's fastest hypnotist. Sean has taught hypnosis in 19 countries, and he has appeared on television in 4 countries. He is the author of 2 books on hypnosis, and he has run successful hypnosis practices in 3 states. Time tunneling technique, modern age regression. Break through your limits and your client's limits with the modern and effective time tunneling technique, TTT. Even if you have not yet been trained in age regression, Cal reveals how you can use his new technique and break through old limiting beliefs and patterns to create much greater success for yourself and your clients. He will also let you in on some of the latest discoveries on how to use TTT to work on some of the most difficult issues. This technique can truly break through the limits you're experiencing in your practice. TTT for instantaneous induction of clients and yourself. TTTT for fast and effective age regression results for permanent change. Much better than the old affect bridge technique for age regression. TTT for insight breaks through even the toughest patterns. TTT gets to the cause of the problem fast and uses emotional alchemy. This new technique can boost any hypnosis practice. Cal Banyan, M.A., D.N.G.H., C.I.O.B., Dallas, T.X., has a master's degree in psychology, has written several highly praised books, manuals, and produced many hypnosis-related training programs. He has received many awards and is a member of the Order of Braid Council. He also produces an award-winning weekly hypnosis video program, Hypnosis, etc.
Cultivating credibility, harnessing the power of client testimonials. Robbie Spear Miller, CIOB, Burlington, On, Canada, is a distinguished figure in the world of hypnosis, renowned for her transformative work. As the Director of Hypnosis Training Canada, she trains hundreds of aspiring hypnotists with the Master Hypnotist Society method of hypnosis training. She also mentors people into building flourishing hypnosis clinics that generate six-figure incomes. With an impressive career spanning nearly 2 decades, Robbie has touched the lives of countless clients through her expertise in hypnosis.
Overcoming the 25 mistakes that many hypnotists make. They say that you cannot please everyone. That is not the case with this exciting presentation. Don has selected 25 errors that hypnotists too often make. He will then demonstrate the correct way to respond. Inductions, marketing, regressions, metaphors, group presentations, hypnotic convincers, and much, much more. Eliminating negative prognosis from the medical community. The FBI techniques that develop rapport in seconds. One weight loss technique that should be used in every session. Understanding and using the WWIH. The hidden meaning when using a beach scene with a client. The scene about a pond can wipe out stress. Have clients realize the time with you is the best times of their life. Don Motton, DNGH, CMI, OB, Summerfield, FL, is the Vice President of the NGH. He opened his first Hypnotism office in August of 1980. To date, he has hypnotized over 50,000 people. Don has the practical experience in every phase of hypnosis. Don is the only hypnotist to ever be named Educator of the Year 3 different times, 1993, 1996, and 2000. In 1994, he received the Ormond McGill Chair, and in 1997, the Rexford L. North Award.
Thank you for listening to the Hypnosis NGH podcast. You're welcome to share your ideas for future podcasts by emailing us, nghpodcast@ngh.net.